Back to the drawing board then for Mauricio Pochettino as it finishes Wolves 2, Chelsea 1. Let's just take a look at what that means in the Premier League table. Well, for Chelsea, they sit 10th. Take a look at that. They are already 18 points off Arsenal at the top of the table. They've only played 18 matches this season. Shaka and Nedum are, of course, with us, but let's start with Mr. Merry Christmas.
Well, this is a very serious football show today, so...
Right.
We can't take Chelsea and Man United serious. How can we take ourselves serious, you know what I mean?
This was bad again from Chelsea.
Well, I think Chelsea and Man U should just play off between themselves between now and end of the season.
Like the opposite of a Super League.
And the loser loses because it's getting a bit Groundhog Day of talking about Man United yesterday, and it's the same with Chelsea. Look, a mishmash still of players coming on and throwing the kitchen sink at the end and all these subs, but you know the decision making, particularly from Raheem Sterling, I think that's beyond the pale.
How would you have reacted if you were Cole Palmer?
Oh, well, Cole Palmer's a youngster, right? But let me tell you, in all the experienced dressing rooms I've played in, that would have been a problem at half-time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Particularly when you're in the position that you're in. The club's struggling, the team's struggling, the manager's struggling. It's not about you. It's about playing a simple 5-yard pass to the right, and don't tell me he never saw it, right? Because you can see, unless you've got blinkers on, you can see in your peripheral vision, you know you've got a couple of players there. And it's a simple pass, job done. They take the lead, and who knows what's going to happen. Now, that's not why they're where they are in the league and blah, blah, blah. But when you're down there, you need to make good decisions, and that was an awful decision. But, you know, up front, they are horrendous. Up front, Nico Jackson, somebody will have to tell me what he does. I mean, he played a little bit off Breuer today, and then they made some changes. He's got 8 yellow cards as a front man, probably more than he's had strikes at goal. I mean, it's just horrendous, and it asks questions about the recruitment again, because he's clearly not good enough to play as a headline striker in the Premier League.
Nedum, I just want to go back to that Sterling moment because it was so kind of definitive when it came to the result of this match. You felt if Cole Palmer would have scored from that, then it could have obviously changed everything. Do you agree with Craig that Sterling's out of order there?
I agree with Craig in the sense that the better option would have been to pass, but in reality, Raheem Sterling's good enough to be able to finish that in a better way. I think Jose Sar's read him from sort of days ago in terms of when he dived to his left-hand side to deal with it. But again, like, if half-time came and they're going to discuss that, I wonder if Sterling's thinking, you know, I should have passed, or whether he's thinking he should have put a better finish towards it. But for them, you know, this is a case of their season. This is how their season's been. This is how last season was. This is a team that huffs and puffs, but unfortunately misses a ton of chances. And we saw that again today because they had some great opportunities. And to come away with a 2-1 defeat in a game which they feel that they should have won, I think it comes down to the finishing, because everybody concedes. But with the quality they have, they should be scoring more and they shouldn't be missing as many chances as they do, in my opinion.
And Nkunku came on and took his chance. Shaq, if we're going to have one little glimpse of a positive light for Chelsea fans.
Yeah, we've been waiting all season long for Nkunku to have some kind of an impact for Chelsea in the hope that he changes their fortunes. Listen, Nkunku comes on and all of a sudden there's a sense of quality about Chelsea's attacking play that we hadn't seen, certainly not during the course of this game, and probably hadn't seen all season long, the Carabao Cup game aside. But Chelsea made all their own problems. I'm with Craig. I thought Raheem Sterling not passing was inexcusable. If he's on his own and Sam makes that save, you say really good save by the Wolves goalkeeper. Not passing to his right, where he's got 2 players. It's simply inexcusable. And that kind of summed up Chelsea. No, again, to your question, we've been waiting for Nkunku to come back for so long, and he showed a sense of quality, a sense of composure, of calm about Chelsea, but it's going to take a whole lot more than that on this showing to turn around their fortunes.
You take a look at it, and Nedum mentioned the missed opportunities. In fact, they've missed more big chances than any other team in the league this season. They're first ahead of Everton.
Have I got my bobble in the right place here?
Shut up with your blooming thing. Look, if you take a look at this, does this make a difference? You're creating chance.
I'm fed up looking at these kind of stats,
right?
You know, and I tell you why. because this has been they've been harping on about this at Chelsea now. You know, Pochettino's harping on about it, trying to drive it as this is why we are where we are. Graham Potter was very similar, maybe not quite as much, but it was always, oh, we're dominating games, we can't finish, which they did a lot of times. And Thomas Tuchel, to some extent, was singing from the same hymn sheet. Blah, 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 blah. It's 3 managers. Come on, we can't keep using this as an excuse. The Sterling one was just downright crazy decision-making, right? That's not down to bad finishing. Taking a strike at goal there should never have been an option with the options that he had to his side. And Nico Jackson, you know, at the moment, it just looks like this Premier League is just too much for him.
Yeah.
You know, that's not bad finishing, it's bad players. And you know, look, at the end of the day, you know, do you think they'll sell that to the Chelsea fans and say, oh, you know, look at this stat here, we're sitting in mid-table mediocrity, but we're creating a lot of chances. I mean, come on, this has been the excuse now for, I would say, at least 2.5 years.
We talk about Manchester United in a moment and their takeover. Who's worse off, though, Shaq, on the pitch? United or Chelsea?
Oh goodness. I'm going to have to say. I think United are worse off. I don't see where a spark is coming from for Manchester United. And as I mentioned, Nkunku coming back, maybe that changes things. Maybe a little bit of a run in games and a growing confidence for Chelsea again sees them kind of move up
Shaka,
the table.
you're really not selling this.
Well, I mean, take your pick. I don't want to be either. Is the God's honest truth? I'm not sure who's better off.
Well, hold on. Let's just roll it back a little bit, right? I think what most of us agree, Man United, by their standards, are... You struggling with this?
No, carry on.
Man United, I know you struggle to take me serious at the best of times.
Get on with it.
Man United, I think we all agree, are, by their standards, abysmal, right? They gave Chelsea an absolute going over. I mean, a trouncing,
Yeah.
right? 28 efforts they created. It could have been 6 or 7 at Old Trafford. This is a Man United side that struggled to open anybody up. And yeah, Chelsea had 2 or 3 chances themselves, but nowhere near. So I think when you look at the two sides, as bad as Man United are, you can't argue at Old Trafford in the big game between a couple of daubers, they gave Chelsea an absolute doing. And it should have been much worse than it was. So Chelsea are they're in a real bad position here. I mean, both are, of course. I get what Shaq is saying. It's a real difficult conundrum. But recent history will tell you that Chelsea can't beat anybody of any note. They were lucky against Newcastle, but for Kieran Trippier, they wouldn't be in the semi-final of a Carabao Cup. I mean, if that's not papering over the cracks, I don't know what is.
And there just doesn't seem any sort of spine to this Chelsea side, Nedum.
You could say that, but you know, you look at it, Thiago Silva's playing every single game. Whether the fact that a 38, 39-year-old is like a pivotal part of your strategy, if that's a good thing, I'm not sure. And then in midfield, you've obviously got Gallagher, who I think has played well this season, although now there are rumours that he's going to be sold in January, perhaps. But yeah, it's just, for me, it's just up top. But I think what I would say is a comparison between them and United, for as much as United are in a better position league-wise, and they're not as far away from their objectives, I think personally United are a tougher watch. Because you look at them, I think they've scored 18 goals in the league, which is the same as Burnley, it's the same as Luton, it's the same as Crystal Palace. So they can grind out a 1-0 perhaps every so often. You know, Onana's kept clean sheets and, you know, we never really come away from United game thinking, oh, that was potentially exciting. But when we see Chelsea click, and it might be, you know, for 5 minutes a weekend, but when we see them click, it makes sense. You're seeing Cole Palmer, Sterling's, people like that charging forward. You're seeing some of the energy in midfield, some of the good football. But then I think, as is the case with both sides, they've got a ton of injuries as well. So I think the two are kind of in the same sort of boat. But I think Chelsea would happily be further up the table like Man United are because, you know, as it stands, like, what a bad few months that's been for both sides.
I agree.
And you take a look at the money, obviously, that's spent, Shaq, and that's why Chelsea is such a big story. Since he's arrived, the net spend €742 million for Todd Burley. Since he's arrived, they are 12th when it comes to the points per game and 12th when it comes to the goals per game.
It's ridiculous. And listen, this speaks to a bigger problem within football. And oftentimes we look at the 11 that crossed the line and put it down exclusively to them. But from the time Todd Burley arrived, there has been what we all describe as a scattergun transfer approach. There doesn't seem to be any real thinking behind who they go after, other than if somebody else is interested in this player, we are too, without any thought as to how it fits into what they're doing, what they're trying to build. And then even after the first year, he comes out and says, well, no more of that. We're going to be a lot more sensible about our spending. Thank goodness for Saudi Arabia. They come in and top up their coffers. And then they just turn around and go and do the exact same thing later on in the summer. And as a result, you have a bunch of talented players in a mismatched team, and you get these ridiculous results and performances. Todd Burley has got to hand the reins over to somebody who knows what they're doing football-wise, because I don't think anything about what he's offered has built on what we've seen from Abramovich for all those years. He's tried to one-up Abramovich and failed miserably.